So this is a very interesting topic. Now let's see some sample questions for system design interview. So you might be asked a question like design an e-commerce store like Amazon and design to scale it to millions of users. As you can see, this is a very broad question and it is very difficult to provide a very realistic solution for this in a span of around 45 minutes. But when you look at this question, think of what comes to your mind at that point in time. Like, if you have a template for this, you can break this problem into multiple steps and then provide solutions at each step. And when you are building an e-commerce store, think of the key functionality when you are trying to figure out the requirements. For example, one of the key pieces for an e-commerce store is displaying the products, showing product details, and actually buying the product. So these three requirements are key when you are building an e-commerce store. So you can build your solution across these three requirements. Of course, you have to clarify the requirements from the interviewer. So he might be only interested in, for example, catalog information or product pricing. So you need to figure out what exactly the interviewer is looking for when he has given you a problem like that. Next, let's see one more problem. So you might be asked to design an online shopping website using microservices. So in this type of question, the interviewer is more interested in a particular form of technology rather than the question itself. So in this case, it clearly shows that the interviewer is interested in you using a microservices architecture. Maybe they are heavily using microservices, right? So microservices is a hot topic these days, so it's not uncommon to get a question like this. So as you can see, if you know microservices well, you can break this problem again and its architecture again using microservices and then provide a solution for that. Now, if you are going into a company that uses machine learning, and then it is possible you might get a tough question like this. How would you build a recommendation engine like Netflix? So building a recommendation engine and scaling it to millions of users would require you to have some knowledge on big data, right? And understanding from that big data and building out machine learning algorithms. So some knowledge on recommendation engines and algorithms like collaborative filtering and content-based recommendations and things like that. So it is a very broad topic. So as you can see, questions like on microservices were still realistic in the sense that API design is very common and normally many developers know that. But questions like this, which require some specific form of knowledge like machine learning, can get a little bit hard. Or you can get a question on a particular feature. Up till now, the questions that I showed you were questions about building an entire piece of app. But this question is about building one particular feature. So in this case, the requirement is very specific. So you are being asked to build an auto suggest feature. And scaling comes into picture in this case. So they are showing a Google image here. So as you can figure out from this that scalability is key and performance and availability is key here. So you have to build the feature first and give a solution for how you would go about building the feature, and then figure out how you would put in scalability, or how would you make sure that high availability is attained for this solution. You can also get a simple question like how will you build a simple LRU cache. So I have other courses on Udemy where you can check out some of these questions. But these questions are, you can figure out this is actually an algorithmic question. So it's possible that the interviewer can couple questions related to algorithms and bundle them into a system design interview. So there is no hard and fast rule for these questions. It's possible you might get asked an algorithm interview. It totally depends upon the taste of your interviewer. If he is into algorithms, he might ask you a question on algorithm like this. And in this form of question, definitely you will have to provide a lot of code. Basically, you will have to code the entire LRU cache solution on the whiteboard and show the solution in the form of code to the interviewer. There can be another question like build a health monitoring system that gives an overall health score of a user. So this as you can see from the screen is basically could be for a mobile app. So if you are a mobile app developer and you are getting interviewed by companies like Facebook or Amazon and in their mobile team, you can expect questions like this. And here these are very heavy on the UI design side. So how would you design the UI and integrate with the backend? So here you need to figure out how would you lay out the screen and depict the design of the screen in this way. Finally, there can be questions like design an image classification system. If you see, this is heavily centered around deep learning and neural networks. Now, if you are appearing in FANG companies, the top tech firms, and applying in their teams that heavily use machine learning, it's possible they can give you a system design interview like this. So in this way, they'll be able to figure out how well you know about machine learning in general, as well as how well you know about scaling solutions across machine learning algorithms. So this is clearly a deep learning problem, and you might use algorithms like convolutional neural networks. Um, this becomes a very specific problem if you're going for a machine learning position. So in a typical position that or a company that involves heavy use of microservices or API design, you might not get a problem like this. So definitely it depends upon which field or which team you're applying to and what kind of technologies they heavily use. So the system design interview can be based on that. Next, we will cover topic about the nature of these interviews, what kind of interviews these system design interviews actually are.